Let's go back to the fall of 2008. The entire global financial system is on the absolute brink of collapse. And in the middle of all of it, Warren Buffett sits down to write his annual letter to shareholders. But what came out wasn't just some boring business update. It became a masterclass in how to think and how to act when the rest of the world is completely consumed by fear. So today we're going to tear this thing apart and see what makes it tick.
I mean, this is the ultimate test for any investor, right? The headlines are just screaming doom. Your portfolio is bleeding red. What's your next move? Back in 2008, this wasn't some thought experiment. This was it. The only question that mattered.
All right, so here's our game plan for this explainer. We're going to start by setting the scene, what the world actually felt like in 2008. Then we'll dive straight into Buffett's contrarian mindset. After that, we'll unpack his dead simple playbook for success, understand his long-term bet on America, and finally, pull out the lessons we can all use today.
Okay, to really get why Buffett's advice was so powerful, you have to remember just how scary things were. This wasn't just a little dip in the market. It really felt like the whole thing, the entire system, was about to just fall apart. I mean, just look at this. In a matter of weeks, boom, giants of finance that had been around forever were just gone. Lehman Brothers, a firm that was 158 years old, just vanished into bankruptcy. The government had to rush in with these massive bailouts. The market was in an absolute free fall. The feeling in the air, just pure, unfiltered panic.
And right in the middle of all that chaos, you've got this calm, clear voice coming out of Omaha, Nebraska. Buffett's guidance wasn't about some complicated financial model. It was all about getting your head straight and just thinking differently from everyone else.
So while everyone else is hitting the sell button, just trying to stop the bleeding, Buffett comes out with advice that's, well, the complete opposite. It was so simple you could write it on a napkin. But in that moment, it was incredibly hard to do. This is the line. It's probably one of the most famous quotes in all of investing, and for a very good reason. It's not just a catchy phrase. It's an entire investment philosophy jammed into one sentence. It's a call to action, telling you to use that widespread fear not as a reason to run away, but as a historic opportunity to buy.
So what he's talking about here is a strategy called contrarian investing. It's really just the art of zigging when everyone else is zagging. You know, when the crowd is euphoric and pushing prices to insane levels, a contrarian gets nervous. But when that same crowd is terrified, selling anything that isn't nailed down, well, that is the contrarian's prime time to go shopping.
Okay, so having that contrarian mindset is step one. But how do you actually do it without just, gambling? That's where Buffett's playbook comes in. And you know what? It's basically built on two super simple but really powerful rules.
Rule number one. You absolutely have to know the difference between price and value. Price? That's the crazy, emotional number flashing on your screen. It's driven by fear and greed. But value? That's the real stuff. That's the underlying long-term earning power of the actual business. And in a panic, those two things, price and value, can get completely disconnected.
And this is where another one of his famous quotes just nails it. The market is going to offer you a price for a stock. But your job as an investor is to figure out if the value you're getting in return, that little piece of a real business, is actually worth more than the price you're paying.
And this is so important. The goal here isn't just to buy cheap stocks. It's to buy wonderful businesses at a moment when the market's panic has made their price tag temporarily cheap. Think of the financial crisis like a massive, once-in-a-generation sale, where the best companies on earth were suddenly on the discount rack.
So you're probably asking, okay, what is a wonderful business? Well, for Buffett, it's got a few key ingredients. First, it has a durable competitive advantage, what he famously calls a moat that protects it from competitors. Second, it's run by people who are both good at their jobs and honest. Third, and this is a big one, it's a business you can actually understand. And finally, it's got to have good prospects for long-term growth.
But Buffett's confidence in 2008 wasn't just about a clever playbook. It was built on something much bigger, a really deep, core belief he had about the future.
And this quote right here just says it all. I mean, think about it. The financial world is basically on fire, and he's writing this. He believed that the long-term engine of American innovation and growth, what he calls the American tailwind, was way, way more powerful than any short-term crisis.
And this is a really, really important point. Buffett wasn't trying to perfectly time the bottom. He says it all the time. He has no clue when the bottom is going to hit. His whole game was just,
buy great American companies when they were on sale because he just knew that eventually that economic engine would fire back up and come roaring back to life. And boy, did that bet pay off. The results were just staggering. For anyone who had the courage to follow that advice, the market didn't just get back on its feet. It shot into the stratosphere, proving just how powerful that American tailwind really is.
Okay, so that was 2008. Ancient history, right? So why are we talking about it today? Because the things Buffett was talking about, they aren't just for that one specific crisis. They are a timeless guide for getting through any period of craziness.
So, let's boil it all down. Here's the takeaway playbook for you. First, start looking at those wild market swings as an opportunity, not a threat. Second, always focus on the value of the business, not the frantic price on the screen. Third, stretch your timeline way out. Think in decades, not days. And finally, never bet against the long-term trend of human progress.
And really, that's what this all comes down to. This is more than just a financial strategy. It's a mental framework. It's about literally rewiring your brain to see opportunity where everyone else sees disaster. It's about turning that gut-wrenching feeling of fear from your worst enemy into your single greatest advantage.
Which, brings us right back to where we started. Because let's be real, another crisis is going to come. It's not a matter of if, but when. The headlines will be screaming again, the panic will be in the air, but now you have a framework from one of the greatest investors of all time. So the only question that matters is, what's your playbook going to be?